Hey, everybody, welcome to If You Don't Like That. Hope you are doing well. Welcome your phone calls, your messages. The Warriors are going to go home tied at a game apiece. This game was over early. You kind of had an idea when it was 13-0 and the Warriors needed 5 minutes to score the first basket that life without Steph Curry was going to be exactly that we knew, and that would be it's going to be hard to score. And the Warriors here look like they're not even going to score 95 points. So, 117 to 92. The Timberwolves got a scare early when Anthony Edwards had to be helped off the floor and with an ankle, but he came back. I don't understand these coaches. I don't understand why Anthony Edwards and Randall and all these guys are on the floor in a blowout with 4.5 minutes left. I really don't. These coaches are freaking paranoid. Like the Warriors without Steph Curry are going to go on a 20-0 run in the final 4 minutes of the game. I mean, it's stupid. I mean, it really is. It's absolutely ridiculous. I don't understand that. I do not understand that. But again, that series and the Warriors are going to have to figure out a way to score until Curry comes back, if he comes back, and that's it. If we don't know about, I mean, no one knows, right? I mean, the Warriors scored 93 points tonight, 117 to 93, the final. Think about that. Without Steph Curry, the Warriors managed 93 points. 117 to 93. Not going to get it done. Not going to get it done. I look at the Minnesota Timberwolves. Randall had 24, 11 assists, 7 rebounds. Edwards, not great, 20 points. But they get a good performance from Alexander Walker off the bench with 20. Naz Reid played well. But the Warriors could be in a lot of trouble here. I mean, when they don't have Steph Curry, it's the equivalent of the Kansas City Chiefs walking out onto the field without Patrick Mahomes. Same thing. It's no difference. No difference at all. And you got to figure, I mean, the Warriors are going to have a very difficult time advancing without Steph Curry. I don't see how they can, to be honest with you. And I don't think Minnesota played that great tonight. I really don't. They didn't, look great. They just took advantage of a team that is inept offensively without their quarterback, as you would expect. As you would expect. All right, the Knicks and the Celtics. What a series that has turned into. I'm thinking about Madison Square Garden on Saturday for Game 3. Oh, wow. I mean, I can't even imagine. I mean, I can imagine. I've been at some huge, huge games at Madison Square Garden. I mean, that place is going to be just off the hook. It's going to be an electric, crazy atmosphere on Saturday for the Knicks and the Celtics. And again, that series has a 2-0. And if you're the Knicks, if you win one game at home, you're in great shape. I know they're not thinking that way. They're thinking of winning both. But, if they win one of those games, you think they're in pretty good shape. Can the Knicks win the series and avoid a huge collapse? Well, obviously they can. I mean, they only have to win 2 games and the Celtics have to win 4. So obviously they can win the series. Hit me up. Give me a call. We'd love to have you on. All right, let me give you the link right here. Let me put the QR code up above my shoulder so you can use that if you'd like. Whatever's easier for you. You get in on the program and we can talk right here on If You Don't Like That. Hockey, the game is at the halfway point. 10 minutes left to go in period number 2. Vegas needs a win desperately on their home ice as they lead 1-0. But they gave up a couple of goals late in game 1 in the third period. Edmonton broke a tied game late, and they win it to take the early lead in this series. I think this series is going long. Both these teams are really, really good. Home ice doesn't mean a lot. Not in hockey. Home court hasn't meant much in basketball, and I have a reason for that. The reason why home court doesn't matter as much anymore is because the game has turned into one simple element, 3-point shooting. That's it. 3-point shooting. And the fans can't come onto the court to block your 3-point shots or push you or rattle you. And it's just different now. The 3-point shooting has completely changed everything. It's changed everything. It's just the game is so different now. So different. Jay wanted me to know that aside from Thailand, one of the islands, is it pronounced Palawan in the Philippines, is considered as the best island in the world. I am aware of that. I have not been there. Yo, Napes. I'm not a Knicks fan, but what would a championship mean to the NBA and the New York if they got one? Listen, the NBA is much better when the Knicks are good. You know, Madison Square Garden, the attention that it's brought on in that market, it would be huge for the NBA. Ratings wise, it would be through the roof if the Knicks made it to the finals. Through the roof. I mean, it would be incredible. If the Knicks make it to the finals, the ratings will be absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. All right, you got the link right there in your chat. All right, hit me up, use the link, and we'll get you right on. It wouldn't even matter who the Knicks played if they make it to the finals. The ratings would be absolutely amazing. Warriors do not have a backup point guard, at least not a competent one. No, and they don't. And I mean, even if they did, it may not make a difference in this series. Jake says they look like one of the worst teams without Curry. Well, it just goes to show you how important a point guard is and why the Kings have been inept over the long period of time with not winning a playoff series. You got to have that position locked down in the NBA. And here's the other deal. Your point guard needs to be able to shoot. That's another issue that I have with Fox. He's not a good three-point shooter, and I just don't know how far you can go if you have a point guard that is not a real good three-point shooter. You know, the game is all about shooting now. It's all about deep shooting. Okay? It's not about really anything else now. I hate to say that, but the NBA is about three-point shooting. Plain and simple. I mean, look at the Celtics. Look at the Celtics. Are you kidding me? I mean, they're 15 of 60 in game one, 10 of 40 in game two from three. And they almost win both games, but their three-point shooting was so bad. Grant Kenny Smith called out your, oh boy, if you don't like that, you don't like NBA basketball. It was pretty cool. Oh, that is awesome. Love Kenny. What's up, Grant? What are your thoughts about the Kings making moves in the front office? I've been very open about this. I wouldn't have hired Scott Perry, and I like Scott. I wouldn't have hired a guy that's on his last job. I would have hired a younger general manager whose success depends on the team being good. You know, Mike Whitson, BJ Armstrong. I mean, first of all, an organization is not going to win or lose based on the assistant general manager. So it doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, I hate to be blunt, but you think like teams win or lose based on who the assistant general manager is? I see so much attention on BJ Armstrong. And I don't know BJ Armstrong. I have interviewed him a couple times now that I think about it. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know BJ. I don't know. I have nothing against him. But like the Kings' success or lack thereof is not going to depend on BJ Armstrong. I mean, BJ Armstrong's got a lot of basketball acumen behind him. But I mean, you think the Kings' success or failure is going to depend on him? Come on now. What does it mean for the economy of Sacramento when the Kings are in the playoffs? Well, there's only been one playoff since 2006, right? I'm sure it helps. But do I think that 3 extra home games in the playoffs a couple of seasons ago made a big difference in the economy? No, it did not. It wasn't Monty's fault. It's the owner. So why do you think things are going to be any different now, Jake? Front office moves? Who cares? They're all yes men anyways, pretty much. Thank you for answering my question. Love you, brother. Well, thank you for supporting the channel. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. Awesome. Can BJ run the point? Well, if he can, then it's a great addition. Yeah, if he can, then it's one of the great moves in the history of the Sacramento Kings. And I love Kenny Smith, man. I'm happy to hear that. Actually, I love all those guys on that panel. I know them all very well. Shaq's great. Charles is great. Ernie is phenomenal. So I love that show. It's great. The team should be called Vivek's Puppets. Not too far from the truth. Not too far from the truth. Can't really dispute that. I mean, so like we know what the problem is, and we think that because you have, well, first of all, you already know that Scott Perry's not in charge, because if he was in charge, Doug Christie wouldn't be the coach. So I mean, we already know that Scott Perry accepted the job being told who his coach would be. We already knew that. I told you that, but it became official a couple of days ago. Correct? Did I tell you that? I as soon as I heard Scott Perry was the new GM, I told you Doug Christie would be the coach. And you knew everything you needed to know about whether he'd be able to run the organization or not. And the answer is no. No. Which team has the best broadcast teams in the NBA? I don't know. It's subjective. You'd have to answer that question yourself. I mean, it's subjective. I can't answer that question. Stop going to the games, people. That's our recourse. You can do what you want. I've already told you I'm not going to start a fan boycott. If that's something you want to do, then go ahead and do it. I'm not going to organize that, and I'm not going to be the one that is telling you not to go to games. That's a decision you have to make. I'm not making that for you. Do I think Missoula is on the hot seat? If Boston doesn't make the Eastern Conference or Finals, they blew 220-point leads back-to-back. Is he the coach that won the championship last year, or was that a different Joe Mazzulla? I'm just wondering. I think the Celtics team will be a lot different next year, but I don't know how you could fire Joe Mazzulla. I really don't. Jake says, yeah, I didn't go to any games this season. Well, again, that's fine. If you don't want to go, that's fine. You make that decision. And if you feel that it's important that your fellow fans don't go, then organize that. You've got social media. You've got a way of doing it. If that's what you want to do, go out and do it. But I'm not going to orchestrate it. I'm not going to be the lead man there. You have to do that on your own. That's not something I'm comfortable in doing. If you don't want to go to the games, don't go. But I'll tell you this, if you have plumbing issues, you better call New Works Plumbing, because if not, well, you might have a headache on your hands. You won't have a headache on your hands if you call New Works at 916-713-1010. Go to the website, sackserviceplumbing.com, or I always use newworksplumbing.com, NEWWRXplumbing.com. New Works Plumbing, they've got a fix for you. And remember, they're available around the clock. That's newworksplumbing.com or sackserviceplumbing.com. New Works Plumbing, they've got a fix for you. All right, again, the Minnesota Timberwolves scored the first 13 points. The game was over with 7 minutes left to go in the first quarter. The game was over. How will I react if somehow this GM and coaching change works by accident? Well, I'm not going to react any differently than I'm reacting now, because I hope it does work, and I hope that the Kings fans can watch a perennial playoff team. So I'm not going to react any differently. I'm going to give you my opinion as I go along, like I've always done. And sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong. I'd like to think I'm right a lot more than I'm wrong, but there are times I'm wrong. I can't predict the future, but I think I know what's going to happen with the future. And I think the future is very bleak for this new regime coming in. I think it's going to be a disaster, but I hope it's not. I hope I'm wrong, but I think it's going to be a disaster. But again, I hope I'm wrong. I want to see Kings fans root for a winning team. You know, it's not like I root for the Kings to lose because I don't do the games anymore. That's not the case at all. I have a different approach in the team. Like, I don't live and die with the team anymore. I don't really get caught up in win streaks or losing streaks, or I don't have the emotional attachment like I used to. Does that make sense? But I don't like root for them to lose. I want you guys to have, you know, a team that you can enjoy watching and rooting for, but I don't see it. So I hope that answers your question, Brian. Am I a boxing fan, Grant? I used to be a boxing fan. I'm not anymore. Boxing is terrible now. Going to game one of the playoffs a couple of years ago, that atmosphere inside and outside the arena was something else. It's a shame the front office couldn't build on it. Yes, it is. Wonder what kind of changes Denver does if they lose this series. They got to add a little depth. I don't think they need a lot of changes. They're good. I think they just add a little depth. They've lost a couple of key pieces in the last 2 years. Brian, you're very welcome. Thank you for asking the question. They've lost some key reserves the last 2 years, key role players. That's really hurt them. I think David Adams will be the coach. He was very close to being a head coach before he got this job. He's interviewed for other jobs. He's extremely well respected around the league, and I would expect him to remain as Nuggets head coach. Zach says, unfortunately, this situation is like the last few years of Al Davis. Still a fan, but can't attend games and give them my money. I understand. I get you. I'm okay with that. No problem at all. And I was working with the Raiders during the end of Al Davis's tenure for all intents and purposes. And I was around Al during training camp and had meetings with Al. And that was after the Raiders had just gone to the Super Bowl and lost. Barrett Robbins, AWOL, and they lose to Tampa. And I was with the Raiders for the next 5 years and was around Al a lot to see how things were run. And you just knew they were not going to win. You just knew it. So it's a very good analogy. Very good analogy. Grant, do you follow the Stockton Kings? Any players you can see making it to the A team like Keon? I don't follow. I would suggest calling up Ryan on his show. He is very dialed in with the Stockton Kings, and he'd be able to answer that more than me. I don't follow them. I don't follow them. And I'm also not – the difference between the G League and the NBA is night and day. I would just say this. If you're going to be in the NBA, you better shine in the G League, okay? And if you go down to the G League, if you're on a two-way, you better play damn well in the games that you're playing in the G League. Because if you don't, you're probably not going to make it in the NBA or be very good. They have done a very nice job of developing players. Ryan has pointed that out on several occasions. But I don't follow them. I haven't watched the game. And I'm not going to sit here and make it sound like I'm an expert on the Stockton Kings, because I'm not. I understand what the G League is for. I understand its purpose. And the purpose is a good one. I acknowledge that. But I don't go overboard on it. And I think you got to be careful not to go overboard on it. Looks like the Raiders are finally pointing in the right direction now. I would agree with you. I would agree with you. Mason Jones, maybe. Maybe, but ask yourself this question. What do the Kings need help with the most this year? What do they need help with the most? Why wasn't Jones part of that help? So you have to ask yourself that. I mean, I just, common sense has a lot to do with this too, has a lot to do with it. But call up Ryan on his next show and ask him, because he'll be much better suited for these questions than me. Hey, don't forget about Sunrise Landing in Calusa. Go to calusasunrise.com and get all the information on this project from Blazona Development. Beautiful models to choose from. And right now, they are having a May spring sale with special prices on many of these homes. No Mellorews, no homeowners. Take advantage of the special pricing right now at Sunrise Landing, calusasunrise.com, adjacent to the Calusa Golf and Country Club. Good access with the major roads like I-5. Again, go to calusasunrise.com and get all the information on the May spring specials now at Sunrise Landing. If you're just joining me, good to have you here on. If you don't like that, the Timberwolves quick work of the Warriors tonight without Steph Curry. They go back to San Francisco for games 3 and 4. How stupid is this question? Am I allowed in the Golden One now that my lawsuit is over? First of all, my lawsuit is not over. That's number one. And number two, why would I not be able to go into the Golden One Center? Like, why would you ask a question like that? What would make you think that I'm not allowed in Golden One? Like, what do you think? Do you think I have a picture on the wall of most wanted, keep out, murderer, rapist. I mean, what's wrong with you? Seriously, what kind of question is that? Am I allowed in Golden One Center? What an asinine question that is. Should be ashamed of yourself. Kings need to learn to defend the 3-point line next season. They sure do. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. They better, because if not, they're going to have another long season. They're going to have another long season. Yeah, they better. You see how the Knicks play the three? Like they actually make an effort. They actually try. Like it makes a difference when you try. Incredible. Thoughts on the Pope being from the U.S.? This is a sports show. I don't even know how to answer that question. I don't have any thoughts. How about you? Do you have some thoughts? No, redheaded stepchild of second allowed in the Golden One. Oh my God, you all kill me. That's pretty funny stuff. Oh wow. Yeah, you can tell him, BJ. Oh my God, can't make this stuff up. Can't make it up. You really can't. Yeah, they have pictures of me all over the Doko. Do not allow him in. Be on the lookout of disguises, wigs, glasses. Face imaging is what we need to keep him out of Golden One Center. Oh, gosh. They need a point guard who can hit a 15-footer and free throws. They need a point guard who can play. That's what they need. I don't know. Peter, I don't know who the Kings should go after. It's going to be interesting. But I think it's pretty obvious that there's going to be a player on the roster that's not on the roster currently that's going to be the starting point guard. That much I think we could agree on, right? And if not, you got a same problem, The building isn't and will never be the same without you, Grant. You're the best. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Would they be top 8 if they learn how to defend the 3 and have a point guard? Could be, yeah. Grant, is Scott Perry headed in the right direction? What do you mean by that? Like, what has happened based on the first 2 weeks of his tenure that you would think the Kings are headed in a right direction? Like, I don't understand that. Brian says, if you get some smelling salts, maybe they will let you back in G1 Center. I didn't know I was not allowed back in G1 Center, so that's good to know. Thank you very much for that. Scottie Pippen Jr., I would love. Name popped up. My thoughts on the Knicks fans? I've always felt that the Knicks fans, anywhere I go. Doko was built on the cheap, not impressed. I disagree with you. I am impressed with Doko. I think they did a great job. What do you mean that you're not impressed? I think it's great. Go right ahead if you want to chant, bring back Grant in front of the Golden One Center. Go right ahead. I would appreciate that. Thank you. I'm surprised you said that about Doko. I think they did a great job on Doko. I mean, compared to what it was before to now, it's the only area, in my opinion, of downtown Sacramento that you can go to. That's my point. A podcast commentator made a good point. Couldn't have be better for the outcome of the Knicks, but hasn't even played their best game yet. I'm not sure. Neither team's played their best game yet. Do you think Boston's played their best game yet? Boston hasn't come close to playing their best game yet. James, can I ask you a question? I understand the point you want, but don't ask me who would be a good fit and who wouldn't until we get closer. I don't know who would be a good fit because I don't know who else is going to be kept on the team. Does that make sense? Like, is DeRozan going to be on the team? Like, that's a real key part of this when you're talking about a point guard. Minnesota Timberwolves and the Kings both have similar history, but the Anthony Edwards era in Minnesota has changed that franchise. It certainly has. It's made him a perennial playoff team. That's what the Kings need. I thought Scott added an assistant GM. Well, what the hell difference does that make who the assistant GM is? Name me one team in professional sports that you think has benefited because of their assistant general manager. Name me one. Just one. Just one. I remember when you called out Ben McLemore when he couldn't make a three. Well, if you can't make a three, it's hard to play in this league. He got better later in his career, towards the end of his career. But like, can I ask you fans something? And I'm really serious about this. What the hell difference does it make who the assistant general manager is? Seriously, what difference does it make? What do you think the assistant general manager does that the general manager doesn't do? Like, seriously. You think the assistant general manager makes a difference on a win total of an NBA team? Come on, stop it with this nonsense. Can I name any other assistant general manager? No, I can't. I can't. Doesn't matter. I mean, you make such a big deal out of this. Like, deal with stuff that's important. That's not important. It's not important at all. Deal with stuff that is important to the success of a franchise. Focus your attention on things that make a difference. That doesn't make a difference. In all my 32 years of covering the NBA, I've never once said, boy, the Kings are really this or really that because of their assistant general manager. And in this situation of Sacramento, it really doesn't matter because you have a meddling owner. And when you have a meddling owner, it really doesn't matter who's in charge and who's the second in charge because things are always going to go awry. Things are always going to go awry. Was the Christie and Perry hire from Vivek? What is Vlade's role now? 100%. The Christie and Perry hire was Vivek. Not 90, not 95, not 100. Vlade has no role with basketball operations. His role is on the business side. Nothing to do with the basketball operations. I think fans are saying that it's potentially a smart hire and that's a good thing. No, it's not. It's not a smart hire. It's not a bad hire. It's a hire. And it doesn't make a bit of damn difference. Stop it with this nonsense. Good Lord. Stop it. I mean, the only way that it might make a difference is if, God forbid, your general manager had a fatal accident or what have you, right? And you needed somebody to step in and run the franchise who can do it. That's it. That's it. Right? Do you think it matters who the vice president of the United States is when you really think about it? Does it really matter? It only matters if that individual becomes president. But if the individual doesn't become president, does it really matter who the hell the vice president is? I mean, stop it with this nonsense. Smart yes man hire. Doug Christie is not a head coach. Awful play calling, especially defensively throughout the season. Same old Kings. I think it's going to be a disaster. I'm on record as saying that. I hope I'm wrong. And if I'm wrong, I'll admit that I'm wrong. You know that. I will tell you I'm wrong when I'm wrong. Does that mean that Zach LaVine and DeRozan are, you mean, here to stay? No, why would it mean that? I don't think you're going to be able to trade Levine. I think we've gone over this a lot. I don't think you're going to be able to trade him. I don't think so. I don't. How are you going to trade him with his contract? How are you going to trade him? I'm very skeptical of that. Very skeptical of that. I don't know how that's going to work. Hey, don't forget about this man right here, Connor, Element Mortgage, buying a home, selling a home. He's awesome. He himself has closed so many loans over his career, and the team behind him has over 100 years experience. You got the QR code for all of his information. I'll put his number up on the screen, 916-505-1006. That's Connor with Element Mortgage. He's awesome, from Sacramento, knows the market inside out. You need someone you can trust when you're purchasing a home with experience. That's Connor, 916-505-1006. Connor with Element Mortgage. Get in touch with him. Zach LaVine is the Kings' worst acquisition, but at least we have an assistant manager. Oh, my gosh. You're killing me, man. You're absolutely killing me. Killing me. But you're right. You do have an assistant. You have an assistant GM. All right, hockey, end of 2 now. 3 second period goals for Edmonton. Vegas tallies 1. It is 3-2 after 2 in a huge game for the Vegas Knights, trying to tie this series up at a game apiece before they head back to Edmonton for games 3 and 4. Connor for assistant manager. Yes. Here's the other deal, if you really want to get down to it. How much experience does B.J. Armstrong have in a front office? He was a player agent, and he was doing a podcast with Scott. I mean, I'm not saying he doesn't know the game inside and out, but I mean, in terms of the inner workings of a basketball front office, what would happen if something happened to Scott Perry? Would he be the guy? I'm just asking a question. James Harden, good move, or Westbrook? I mean, who the hell would want James Harden? Who would want James Harden? Seriously. I mean, who would want James Harden? Please. So did McNair get fired but actually step down because he knew he lost power? He was out the door. I mean, you know what? I always use common sense here. Can we stop with the nonsense and try to use your brain? The Kings were eliminated by the Dallas Mavericks before midnight struck. Before midnight. Monte McNair announced he was leaving, and Shams Charania, NBA insider for ESPN, said that the Kings and Scott Perry are working towards finalizing a deal. Do you think that happened during the game? Huh? Do you think that Vivek just got on a cell phone in the middle of the second half after his team was being embarrassed and called Scott Perry and said, hey, you want to be my GM? Come on, stop it. Use your brain, would you please? I remember when I was a kid, B.J. Armstrong gave me an autograph. Spreewell blew me off. I interviewed B.J. Armstrong a couple times after games, and he was always great. Was always great. That's the one thing I do remember. He was always a really good interview. Probably talked to him 2 or 3 times, I believe. 2 or 3 times. He was always accessible, always good. Yes, my son still does work for the Kings. That's another reason why I want the Kings to do well. Because of my son. I mean, yeah. I would like to see him have some success and work in the playoffs and do all of that. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for asking. I appreciate that. Speaking of success, you need a new vehicle. You need looking to sell your vehicle. David and Adam, 2 guys trying to do something different and better at EDH Motors Automotive Reimagined. That's right. EDH Motors Automotive Reimagined. And if you are looking to buy a vehicle, go to their website, okay, at edhmotors.com. That's edhmotors.com. And if you don't find what you're looking for, get in touch with David and Adam. They'll get what you're looking for. They are very experienced, and you will take delivery at the Auto Lounge at the El Dorado Hills Town Center. It is beautiful. It means you don't go to the dealership. You don't deal with any of that. Again, that's edhmotors.com. Get in touch with David and Adam. EDH Motors, Automotive Reimagined. My son works with all the equipment, jerseys, luggage, anything you can think of that has to do with what the players need to play and travel and everything else. Who is the assistant GM, David or Adam? I'll let you answer that. He makes players' jerseys. No, he doesn't make players' jerseys. He doesn't make players' jerseys. You know where players' jerseys come from, yes? Okay, thank you. Why would you think he makes players' jerseys? Leon Rose was a former agent before becoming GM for the Knicks. Perhaps BJ has connections. I love when you used to criticize the play calls during games from the Kings side. Some were very boneheaded. Yes, that's very true. I'm trying to become the Kings vice president to the assistant GM. Good luck. I don't know where they come from. Well, you probably should do a little research. It would take you about 30 seconds and you'll learn. What did I think about Buddy Hield coming out with the wrong shorts in game one? It is typical Buddy Hield. It is Buddy to a T. Funny stuff. Tyus Jones would be a nice pickup for the Kings. Yes, he would. Dennis Schroeder might be a good fit. Probably not as a starter, but yes. I like Dennis Schroeder. I've always liked his game. Absolutely. I mean, there's going to be players that I think you can get that are going to really help your team. Okay? Like, I think that is something that we can acknowledge. All right? I believe that you're going to be able to get somebody that's going to really help your team. That's going to really help your team. This is what's all over Golden One Center. Hey, preferably alive. That's it. That's it all over. I got to thank Rhino and Sacktown for quickly putting that up. That is beautiful. Oh my gosh. That is absolutely freaking hilarious. Best graphic of the couple of years we've been doing this show. That's me all over Doko and Golden One Center. Thank you, buddy. That is, oh my gosh. That's a freaking classic right there. Oh my God. That's good. Oh my gosh. Man, that's great. Do I want to get back into basketball and media? Well, I'm doing media right now. Yeah, I mean, I'm keeping all of my options open. I could see myself back in either or. I could see myself once again hosting a radio show or doing play-by-play, or maybe not. Yeah, I mean, I'm keeping all options open. Who do I think will be in the finals? The Pacers versus Minnesota? I would say probably not. I still would not count out the Celtics. I mean, if they win game 3 and look very good doing so, they're going to get a lot of momentum. They're a great road team. You know, they're a great road team. Like, they're not going to be fazed by playing at Madison Square Garden. Broadcaster for the Miami Heat, Eric Reed. He started the same year I did. New York guy. Love Eric. Great guy. I don't think Petrie would work for Vivek. No, he would not. Jeff Petrie wouldn't consult for the Sacramento Kings under any circumstances. Appreciate the super chat donation. Long-time listener, first time chiming in and got roasted by the legend himself. L.O. Grant. Wouldn't have any other way. Love the show. Thank you very much. And if I roasted you, consider yourself very fortunate. You're in a very elite class, my friend. Thank you for the super chat donation. Thank you again for the super chat. Turn on the sprinkler systems. Grant is on fire. Here in the third. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Thank you very much for the donations. Got to put that up one more time. Grant Napier wanted, preferably alive. If you see that poster all over Doko, you know why. Classic. Absolutely a freaking classic. Yes. Hey, what are you doing for Mother's Day? What are you doing? Do you have plans? Get in touch with Bennett's, Bennett'sRestaurants.com, prime seafood and steaks. Mother's Day. Don't come up empty-handed. Don't wait till the last minute, like waking up on Sunday morning. Oh, what am I going to do? Now, Bennett'sRestaurants.com, all right? Sacramento, Roseville, the West Side Grill in Rockland. Bennett'sRestaurants.com, prime seafood and steaks. Don't be that person. Get to Bennett's. You'll love it. Bennett'sRestaurants.com. Hard to believe, isn't it? Mother's Day. You know, whether it's your wife, whether it's your mom, right, or an aunt or someone else, there's a lot of pressure on Mother's Day, right? Yeah, you got to make sure. You got to make sure you hit a home run on that day. No question about that. No question about that. Thoughts on 49ers post-draft? How do you think they fare this year? I'll let you can't analyze the draft until you see the players on the field. You just can't. They have a lot of talent. Health has a lot to do with that, as we know, right? I've been wanting to try them for a long time now. I'm literally around the corner from Bennett's and Rockland. Well, Tyler, go. Go. Did I ever hear from Jeff Petrie? Yeah, I've not a lot, but I've talked to Jeff a couple times since he left the organization. And I saw Jeff at lunch one day. I can't remember where. Yeah, I respect the hell out of Jeff Petrie, and I know the feeling's mutual. Love Jeff. All right. The man himself cracking me up here on the stream today. How the hell are you, buddy?
I'm doing good. About ready to jump in the shower. I just wanted to, but thanks for coming on tonight, Napes. I appreciate it. And I haven't talked to Rhino in a little bit because of work and stuff, but appreciate what you guys do.
Thank you.
Thank you. I see a lot of people in the chat and then other stations, other things, people talking about who can we get, what can we get, who's available, blah, 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 move here, move there. But there's something that needs to be addressed, and it's you guys bring it up every now and then. It's something I'm really big on, and it's the culture and the intangibles of making a winning product. And even if you do get somebody, maybe get a couple people, if they do want to come here, who is gonna buy in to Doug Christie and his staff and what they're gonna do? They have to be very careful. I just hope that Vivek is kind of going to take a hands-off approach maybe and let some basketball minds do what they can do. I really like Doug Christie as a player, as a coach. I think he's got some years to go. I'm more of a Bobby Jackson type of guy, but the cohesion, the structure, the lack of balance, even if you get the world's greatest players, that does not mean that anybody is going to buy in. And we're stuck with, I'm always down on Levine. I never wanted him, but we have him. What is the over under on games played next year? And is his buy in, is his
Yep.
mentality just a little bit of the games that I saw him play? Go
Yep.
ahead, cut in. Go ahead.
All right.
What,
Well,
what do you think about that?
here's the biggest issue that the Kings are facing right now. There are no secrets in the NBA. Everybody knows that Vivek Ranadive is a horrible owner. Everyone. Okay. Agents know that, but they also need jobs for their clients. Basketball executives know that. Everyone knows that. De'Aaron Fox, the first thing he did, basically publicly, was demean the Sacramento Kings organization. He tells other players around the league, don't go there. All right. When players leave here, the Kevin Herters of the world and others, they're like, don't go there. Okay. The word is out. And it is a very difficult thing to change unless you have an ownership change. The Kings were able to fortunately change their fortunes the last time around when the Maloofs came in and simultaneously made a couple of trades Jeff Petrie orchestrated, and they got on the right track. And back then, the Maloofs were great owners and players wanted to play for them. And the word around the league was, get me to Sacramento. Get me to Sacramento. I want to play for the Maloofs. I want to go to Sacramento. Now it's just the opposite. Players want to leave Sacramento. They don't want to come to Sacramento. And it's a mess. And I don't know how that's going to change anytime soon. I'm sorry. I just don't see it.
Yeah, I think that's why, you have some people coming on programs like this and they're just so they drink the purple beam juice, and it's like, you got to just look at the reality of where we're at right now. I mean, you're never going to know where you're going to go unless you know where you're at right now. And if we do a real good assessment, we're kind of in for a long haul. And I don't think we're a point guard away. I don't think we're a stretch four away. I think we're a leader and some structure and some
Yeah.
balance and some cohesiveness away. Now, those are hard things to attain. It's almost easier to get a decent point guard than to get cohesion, to get
Yep.
buy-in. What worries me about buy-in next year is, you know, I hope Levine's head is screwed on straight, and I hope he can stay healthy. But the his record shows that he tends to miss a lot of games. We should be ready
Yes.
for that.
Yes.
I
And
mean,
here's the other issue for people that say winning cures everything. No, it doesn't. 2 years ago, the Kings won 48 games and were the 3 seed, and they fell off the mountaintop after that because they have an owner who screwed everything up. Right? When you really think about it, the Kings were heading in the right direction. They had great synergy. They had great direction. Everything looked tremendous. And then it just completely blew up and fell apart. And so winning does not cure everything. This organization has got major issues that I quite frankly don't know how are going to get fixed as long as Vivek is the owner. That's the biggest issue that's facing the Kings. And anyone that doesn't agree with me, that's fine. But ask yourself, would have Scott Perry hired Doug Christie as coach if he was left upon himself to hire whomever he wanted? Do we honestly think that Scott Perry, who's been an NBA executive for a long time, would hire a coach with very little experience when there's a lot of other very qualified coaches that would have been interested in the job? The answer to that question, if you want to use common sense, is no, he would not have. So that just, again, tells you where this franchise is right now.
yeah, and the fact of the matter is that he hired the person he wanted to hire or who he would have hired,
Of course.
and he's there right now. And so, if you think about it, the pressure that Christie has now is almost way more, and it's a different type of pressure. It's not just
Sure it is.
winning. It's you got these two other dudes on the bench that are just waiting for.
That's
And
right.
here's my guess. I've been watching the Kings for quite some time, and I saw Vivek coming a mile away. I will be surprised if the Kings don't do well. I'll be surprised if Christie lasts for more than about 30 games. I think he'll get. I think he'll get yanked sometime next season. I hope not. I hope they win. Even if they don't win, I hope they just play hard, play defense. Don't give up a bunch of threes. Don't shoot a bunch of threes unless you're open within the confines of the game. But fans, we're just going to have to be realistic. And I know, Grant, you would never say not to go to the games, and I'm not saying that you say that. I'm saying to myself that the only power that we have is with the dollar. Until that affects the pocketbooks, that's where we're
Well,
at.
I haven't been to a game. I haven't been to a game since I left. That's been 4 years, 4 seasons now. I haven't been to a game, and I'm not planning on going to a game. But that's just me. I'm not going to tell you what to do.
I went to a game in Denver, watched Minnesota and Denver play, sat on the in the lower bowl. It was awesome. It was really cool,
That's
clean.
good.
It was just really a good time, and kind of made me sad about the Kings being there. I was just like, wow, I'm way over here in Colorado. So, anyways, nice seeing you.
Hey, man, I appreciate you. Thank you very much for your support. It means a lot to me. You take care, okay?
Love you, my man. Take care.
You're the best. Appreciate it. Love you too, buddy. It's a good phone call. Maybe Perry wants to take a few seasons. That's why he's kept DC. Maybe you're delusional. Unbelievable. All right. On that note, we'll say thank you very much, even to the delusional people in my audience. I love you too, even though I call you delusional. Doesn't mean like I don't like you. It just means you're delusional. But there are a lot of delusional people in the world, and that's okay. Doesn't mean I don't like you. It doesn't mean that I don't want you watching my content. It doesn't mean I don't want you being a fan. It's okay. I like delusional people too, because I can pick on you. You understand? Do you really think a general manager who's 61 years old wants to come into a new job and tank? Hello? All right. You take care. Appreciate you all. Have a good evening, everybody. I'm going to watch the end of the Knights and the Oilers. See if my Golden Knights, my best friend George McPhee, who's put that whole team together, can get a W. All right. Take care. Bye-bye now.